Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. It depends on where you are in the world. I am in Cape Town, so it's evening time, my time. And my guest, Corbie Mitleid, is in upstate New York. So it must be morningish your time, Corbie. Please say hello to the audience.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here, and it's just about 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, it's afternoon. Okay, it's because it's just after 8 for me. Great. So, Kobe, thanks again for joining me this evening. And I am really, really looking forward to this discussion because I think it's really going to be very interesting. So, Kobe is a psychic medium and she is a tarot master and also an author of 2 books or 3 books. I think it's 3 books that
Three now.
three
Three
now.
now.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. So I would love, Kobe, I always start by saying to my guests, this is about a phoenix rising. Everyone that I bring onto this podcast is a phoenix rising in one way or another. We've all had to overcome some type of adversity, and then we've all had to redefine our path going forward or recreate our lives. And so
Yes.
your story is a story of a phoenix rising. So you just maybe tell us about how or why you identify with that label. What kind of adversity or challenges have you overcome?
All right. I grew up in a very dysfunctional family. My mother was an alcoholic. My father did not handle it well. And I was my mother's target. So even from childhood, there was always the feeling of, am I good enough? What am I worth? That colored how I reacted with people for the first 40 years of my life. It's why I ended up with 2 divorces, very, very short marriages before I met the right guy 20 years ago. We are still married.
Wow.
Job after job after job, trying to find what I was good at, even though what I'm good at is the actual psychic medium intuitive counseling, which I have done since I was 18. I'm now 66. But I didn't start doing that full time until 9/11. And yes, I have dealt with cancer 3 times, but I don't say I fought cancer because what you fight fights back. And I don't say I'm a survivor because you say survivor, you get the idea of somebody hanging on by teeth and toenails. I am a cancer dancer. I found out how graceful I could be under pressure. I avoided getting my toes stepped on, and I got off the dance floor in one piece. And I've done that 3 times.
Wow. Was this breast cancer, Kobe?
Yes, the first time it was just lumpectomies and radiation. That was in the late 80s when I was acting in New York and working 60 hours a week and taking acting classes. Then in 2000, there was skin cancer on the breast from the radiation that was done. In 2004, a year and a half after I got married to the right guy, it was a second primary, turns the danger clock back to 0. But they said, sorry, 3 strikes, you're out. You're getting the double mastectomy. We're going to strip you of every hormone possible. And you're going from this Dolly Parton figure, literally put a brunette wig on her, and it was me,
Oh,
to a
really?
fat fire plug with permanent side effects in 3 weeks. Deal with it. We can't help you. All we're going to do is cure the cancer. So, of course, for the first 24 hours, I went home and cried.
Yeah.
But then I said, I have to find reasons to be okay with it. And, some of the reasons were smart. If you don't have them, you can't get cancer there. Some of the reasons were silly, ridiculous. Wow, I'll have implants. They'll make me look like I'm 16 at 93 because they'll be all perky. And the other thing I found out was this was the right guy to marry because he said, will I miss him? Oh, yeah, you were gorgeous, but I married you, not them,
Oh,
which is
wow.
why we have been together 21 years and
Wow.
actually married for 19.
Wow.
So
Oh, my word. I love that. And I noticed you kept calling him the right guy, the right guy. And I was like, I love
he is,
that.
he is. You know, when you've been married as long as we are, and someone says to you, "So how's Carl?" It's my husband. I still look 16. Oh, he's good. That little head tilt and the grin. So that, when you can do that at 66, that's pretty good.
And you don't even look 66. My word, I must
Two magic words: no children. Takes 10 years off your looks right there.
I will make sure to tell my kids this, because if I didn't, I don't regret them. I love my kids to bits, but now I know if I didn't have them, I would look at least 35.
Yes, you'd look 20.
Thanks, Corbie. Thanks so much for that introduction. So I want us to talk about now this mediumship and the tarot. You come from a medical family. I understand, father,
Yes.
doctor, mother, nurse, brother, doctor, and you just chose
Yes.
a totally different path. How?
I could have tap danced on the dinner table and recited Shakespeare and they wouldn't have noticed. Really. I was the rebel. I was the actress. I was the writer. I was the one who wanted to explore what was behind everything in the world. And I have since I was a child.
Are you the last child? Were you the younger one?
I'm the baby. Yes, my brother calls me Shrimp. He's 7 years older than I am.
Makes sense. The younger ones are always the most rebellious ones. And so how did they take it?
My mother died at age 59 in 1984. So she really didn't see as much of my change as my father did. My father was my best friend. He and I even shared the same birthday. We were both born on March 8th.
Wow. Yes.
And for my first 4 years, I thought I came in a box with ribbons and wrapping paper. What did I know? But toward the end of his life, he really did understand me, how I viewed the world, and accepted that I was not going to be the lawyer he thought I was going to be. He understood. Yeah. He understood that I was always going to be the different one, that I would look at the world a little differently. And he completely accepted it. And my wonderful stepmother, whom I adored, she lived several years after my father. And it was just the strangest thing. A little joke between them when they were married was there would be these little strings of purple cellophane stars throughout the house. And of course, when my father died, they were all taken down. But every year and a half or so, my stepmother would find a purple star in the middle of the living room. How could it have gotten there? And she'd call me and she'd say, "Corbie, I found a star. Do you think it could be your father?" And I would chuckle and I'd say, "Of course it is, Shirley. He loved you." So she accepted it. And the most miraculous, Shirley gave me a final present in front of my family, because the rest of my family thinks that, I'm a fake, I'm a charlatan, who knows what this is. It's not valid yet.
Wow.
When my stepmother died, we had a memorial at the house. And we all told stories, and I told that story about Shirley and me and the star. But there was this little man who came up last that we didn't know. And he said, my name is Lou, and I live in back of the house, over there. And I wondered what all the people were, and someone told me it was a memorial for Shirley, and she died in February. But that can't be right, because about 6 weeks ago, I was looking out of my window and I saw her down in the garden, in her bathrobe, the way she used to be in the morning. And I walked down and I said, "Shirley, are you okay?" And she turned and she smiled at me and she didn't say anything. I said, "Well, you know that, if you need anything, we'll help." And she nodded. And I said, "I'll see you later." And I went up to my room. But now you tell me she's been dead for months, but I know what I saw. Shirley was a landscape architect, and she had made the backyard of my parents' house a paradise. And so to find her spirit there, so palpable that her backdoor neighbor, who was not psychic, could actually see it, stand within 6 feet and converse with her, that was Shirley's way of telling everybody else in my family, "Corbie knows what she's doing. We are real." It was her last, most beloved blessing to me.
And after that, then they started believing you.
They don't know what to do with me, but I do what I do. And you cannot have a business where you work 6 days a week, read 1,000 people a year, and have done that for 20 years and been a fake. I'm sorry, somebody would have pinned on it. So they just have stopped trying to change me, but they don't discuss it with me.
Which leads me to the next question. How do you recognize a fake psychic medium? I mean, I don't know. Can people fake it? And what would be the sign?
Oh, Lord, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. In fact, in my second book, there's a whole chapter on, first one, on how to find a real psychic.
Okay.
I will explain why I wrote that book, because it's the worst case. I used to do very large expos in Canada, 250 booths. And so I had a booth here, and across the way was a gypsy. Now, there are real gypsies and there are fakes. They're easy to fake. So there was a woman walking down the aisle, and the fake gypsy runs out and grabs her arm, which you're not supposed to do. But she says, "Oh, you no need to pay $30, $40, $50. I will read your palm for 10. Come with me." Drags the woman into the booth. 20 minutes later, a bunch of us see the client leaving, crying hysterically. And we all run over. "What happened? Are you all right?" And she said that the gypsy had told her that she had a family curse. And if she didn't burn 400 specially blessed candles at the Roman Catholic Church, and the gypsy would bless them at only $1 a candle, her entire family was going to die in a car accident in 2 weeks. And the woman didn't realize it was fake, and she gave her $400.
Oh, my word.
So fake psychics will tell you horrible things to get you to come back.
To scare you.
They'll tell you that you're cursed, that you have to pay the money to help lift a curse, or your aura has holes in it, or your success is blocked, that kind of nonsense. There are as many different kinds of psychic mediums in the world as there are doctors. And there are lots of doctors with different specialties.
Yeah.
But the key is the psychic should not see you as, the expression is a mark, as someone that they can come and grab money from over and over again. Sorry, eyelash. What I do is I say, here are your opportunities and how to grab them. Here are the difficulties. Here's how to get through them or around them. Here is your toolbox. And I hand toolboxes of solutions to my clients. We're not the repairman. We don't fix it for you. Another thing that people tend to do if they're not good mediums is they do what I call fishing. I see a woman. Maybe it's your mom. No, your mom's still alive? Okay. Maybe it's your grandmother. No, it's your cousin. Now, when I do mediumship, I don't do that. I do get, if you will, what I call the business card first, so that I can get right to them. What's an example? My father, Jerome Richard Dorkin, who died in 2001 at the age of 80. Notice that tells me nothing, but gets me right into where I'm going. And oddly enough, my guides play charades. If I do this, it means they smoked. If I do this, it means there was surgery. If I do this, it was an unexpected death or an accident. And there are things even more specific. A woman wanted to speak to her father-in-law. All of a sudden, I feel myself with a pool cue. He had taught her how to play pool. Someone else wanted to speak to her grandfather. All of a sudden, I feel myself salute. Now, Americans salute with their palm down. Brits and Canadians salute with a palm out. She had just graduated from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police Academy, and her grandfather was acknowledging it and saying that he was proud of her. Those are not things a fake psychic would know to make up. I'm not saying it's a rose he's handing you and he loves you. So that's the thing. And when you're looking for a good intuitive, it is important that you get testimonials either on their website or ask to speak to some of the people that they have worked with. You get the costs up front. You should be able to record the session. If a psychic says, no, you may not record, I would shy away from them. I record my sessions for my clients. I am a New Yorker and we talk very fast. So if they're listening, they might miss something. If they're trying to take notes very quickly, they're going to miss something. Give them a recording and they can listen to it again. And you always get something the second or third time.
Yeah. It actually reminds me, before I tell the story, an ignorant question from my side. Psychic medium and tarot readers, do they go, is it the same thing, hand in hand, or can you be one without the other?
Yes. Two men are doctors. One is a cardiologist and works with your heart. Another one is a pulmonologist and works with your lungs. People often say, are all psychics mediums? No. Mediumship specifically talks with our deceased people on the other side.
Right.
Okay. So all mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums. They might have different talents. Now, tarot is a deck that everybody has seen in so many movies, and they are hundreds of years old. But there is nothing magic or mysterious. This is ink on paper. What we learn to do is we learn the meanings of the cards that have been there for hundreds of years. And we also understand the allegory behind it. For instance, this is a card that a fake would get you scared about, and the card is death.
Okay.
But what it means is death of an old way of life, death of what you've outgrown, death of what was never you in the first place, transformation. So there's no reason to be scared of it.
When a death card is pulled, okay.
Right. And the devil doesn't mean you're cursed. It means you are constantly bedeviled by something, someone, some situation, or you're holding yourself back from your highest and best with bad habits. When a true reader understands the meaning in the cards, then it's not scary.
Yeah.
And the longer we read, the more we can hear something directly from spirit. And it may not be the usual meaning of the card, but we get it. There is one particular card, I'm looking for it. It's the Three of Pentacles, and it usually shows the inside of a church building and stained glass, and someone is working on the building. And that usually stands for mastery or something long-term and successful. This is my version of the card. Yet when I saw that card with a couple I was reading for, what I heard I was to tell them was there is a deconsecrated or abandoned church within about 2 miles of your house, and that's where you need to open up your cafe bakery. They hadn't said a word about that to me.
Oh, wow.
But they looked at each other and they looked at me and go, oh, we know which one. We've been arguing about it for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
But that is why a good reader never lets their ego get in the way, because if I did, I'd say to myself, that's crazy. I can't say that to them. And they wouldn't have had that message. But when we know we are just the tube that it comes through, it is not us, we are merely here in service, we get out of the way and the information comes through correctly.
Now, why do you think mediumship, or not medium, the whole industry gets such a bad name? And I'll tell you why I'm saying that. Like, people are scared of the whole psychic mediumship and all of that. I told a friend of mine today that I'm interviewing a psychic medium, tarot reader, and she freaked out. And she was like, oh, no. Why do you think people, and the whole, I suppose it's the whole thing of assigning the witchcraft label to it. Like, people think everyone who's practicing tarot is a witch. I don't know. This is what I'm getting when
no, we're not. The way
and that's what I'm wishing that you could explain, because I would love for my friend to watch this.
Sure. Hi, friend. You know, people are afraid of what they don't understand.
Yeah.
There was a book by Mark Twain called A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. And the character somehow goes from the late 1800s to King Arthur's time, 1,000 years earlier. And when he went, he had a box of matches in his pocket. Now, in the late 1800s, we knew scientifically how you make a match. But the people in King Arthur's time thought it was sorcery and witchcraft, and they were going to burn him at the stake. And everybody can do what I do. I cannot stress that enough. We're all wired like the same house plan, but it's like any other talent. We all have 10 fingers. All of us can play chopsticks on the piano.
Yeah.
Some of us really are fascinated, so we learn how to read music and we practice our scales and we become pretty good. That's kind of where I feel I am as far as psychics go. 1 in 10 million is Elton John. Okay, those are the ones that are terribly, terribly famous. But we all have 10 fingers. Anybody can learn to do what I do if they want to put the work into it. Nothing to be scared of.
Okay, so you're saying anyone can learn to become a tarot reader,
Yes.
for instance. Okay.
Yes, I am teaching a 14-year-old who, to me, is so empathic and sees so deeply into what makes people tick. She is going to be the best reader on the planet when she's my age.
Wow.
Truly amazing.
Yeah.
But she's not doing it for power. She is doing it because she wants to help people in whatever way is possible. And she is the kind of person that can feel your emotions and want to help heal you. That's a good reason for being a reader.
Yeah, to help others. Yeah. Okay, Corbie, we are slowly running out of time. And before we wrap up, I would love for us to touch a bit on your books. Clean Out Your Life Closet. In summary, what is that about?
That is a self-help book.
Okay.
About clarity, adaptability, simplicity, and making friends with stress. But you write the book with me. It's not one of those books that says, do everything I tell you and it all gets better. You work with me through exercises in the book to find your own answers. Again, you can do what I do. The other one, The Psychic Yellow Brick Road, How to Find the Real Wizards and Avoid the Flying Monkeys, if you all remember The Wizard of Oz. This is a book that will tell you how to stay safe when you're looking for psychic guidance and a new reader, what we can do, what we can't. Simple as that.
Okay.
And this one is for people who do what I do and want to make a living at it. And it's called You've Got the Magic, Who Needs a Genie?
Okay.
And that teaches you the business aspect. Things like supplies you need and paying your taxes and like anything else, running a normal business.
Love it. Okay, I think we've just about covered everything that I wanted to ask. Tell us how to get a hold of you if people want to get a hold of you. Are you on social media?
Tola, they can't avoid me. They really can't. I'm all over the place.
YouTube, everywhere.
Go to my website, CorbieMitleid.com.
Okay, so
on Facebook,
it is your
CorbieMitleid.com. That's the website. If you're on Facebook, you can find me under the page Fire Through Spirit.
Is that a group
I'm on
page?
Twitter.
Okay.
No, it's my business page.
It's your business, okay.
And it's where I do free readings once a month. You can find me under Corbie Mitleid on Twitter and Pinterest and Instagram and YouTube.
Oh, thank you so much, Corbie. Any last words before I close? Anything that you would like to share with the audience?
Yes, I will share with you what I call my sentence of passion, which is how I go through the world. And that's cross the bridge from fear to fearlessness and fly. When you have a bridge you think you can't cross, or a pair of wings on your shoulders and you think you need a license, you don't. Fly, cross the bridge. The more you reach out for the world, the more it will reach back for you.
Love that. Sounds like law of attraction. What? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Very much.
Oh, thank you so much for your time, Corbie.
I had a great time. Thank you for asking.
Here, and everybody, that was Corbie Mitleid. Did I say it correctly? Yes, I did.
Perfectly.
And she's in upstate New York.